All right, it's time for an emergency podcast here on the Love of the Star. What an unbelievable day it has been in Cowboys land. Micah Parsons has been traded to the Green Bay Packers for 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark. What the hell is happening? I'm Eric Chiafalo alongside the Super Bowl winning scout Bryan, who happened to win a Super Bowl championship with those Green Bay Packers. And, of course, Zach Wolchuk. All three of us are a part of the G-Bag Nation on the Cowboys flagship 105.3 The Fan. And today's been nuts, gentlemen. Micah and Jerry obviously couldn't come to an agreement. Jerry's super ticked off. Things got a little bit dirty. Things got a little bit nasty. And now Micah will return to AT&T Stadium week 4, Sunday Night Football, in a Packers uniform, a team that has had the Cowboys number for many, many, many years and sent them home packing in the postseason. As a matter of fact, on the Netflix documentary, you see Jerry Jones calling it, with tears in his eyes, the most difficult loss he's ever experienced, losing in 2023 at home to the Packers. So that's where things stand. I am not happy about this, boys, but Broadus, initial reactions from you, sir.
Yeah, listening to Jerry Jones and them talk, in their press conference, boy, they're putting really a lot of emphasis on the run defense. And so to me, Kenny Clark, nice player, good player. He could help, no question. But the question I have now for Jerry and Steven and others in the front office is, if you think your offense is going to be as good as it is and you score points, teams are not going to run the ball on you. They're going to throw the ball on you. And now what happens there? Where do you get that pass rush? Where does that dominant player come into creating sacks, creating pressures? Where does that come from now? Is it going to be with the Fowlers and Ezerakus and people like that? I think it's so strange right now that they talk about playing the run. But if they're good on offense, then they're not going to have to worry about playing the run. They're going to have to worry about teams throwing the football or trying to throw the football on them. And we'll see the pass rush. They're going to have to find a way to get guys, and I'm not talking about 10 sacks apiece, but they're going to have to put together pressures and sacks to be similar to what they got from Micah Parsons. So, does Kenny Clark help you in the run game? Sure. But where does he help you in the pass rush? No, he really, really doesn't. And so that's the thing that worries me. Dallas could have a really good offense, and all of a sudden they're putting up points, and opponents are like, well, damn, we got to play chase now. So we totally abandon the run. And do you have an answer to stop them from throwing the football? That's now the question I have.
Well, Chuck.
Looks like he muted his mic, maybe. Yep.
It's green.
Oh.
I'm seeing the green, but I can't hear him.
Oh.
At least he looks good.
Yeah, he does look good.
What it was.
Oh, there we go.
I muted myself when I reset the settings. That's what a damn rookie mistake. That's just the kind of day we've been having. Yeah. I think I agree with you, Bryan. I think that's an interesting point in terms of the pass rush, because now it's going to go back to what you were talking about on our shows with if you didn't have him. We really are trying to piece this thing together now, right? Yeah. We've got to hope that Donovan Ezeraku turns out to be the player that we're hoping that he can be. And now that's a lot to ask a rookie, right? But it's going to have to be him, Fowler, Nealand, Sam Williams. Now you're going to be asked to do a little bit more. And then the interior pressure with Osa and Solomon Thomas. I do like Kenny Clark does provide them with something we've been begging for, is actually a force in the middle that can provide run defense. I'm really not overly upset with the trade. The questions I have are, and it's a lot of what I think how you feel, Eric, in terms of, like, you guys you didn't plan on trading Micah Parsons. You didn't. That wasn't your plan. Your plan was to pay him, right? So don't feed us the bull crap storyline of like, okay, now the team's better. You were prepared to write that check to him in April if you wanted to, okay? This was not your plan. And I love the media, and Todd Archer did a great job of, okay, well, did you consider trading him prior to the draft? Well, no, they were still having the conversations with Micah. I understand all of that. So, the timeline just didn't add up for them to really be able to get the best that they could for Micah Parsons. I do believe this feels like a very reactionary type of move. And maybe the Packers were the only team that came to them and did fit the criteria that they talked about. We wanted a team that we knew had the salary cap space to give Micah the deal that he wanted. They offered us the draft capital that we wanted, and they had a defensive tackle that checked off the box. You mentioned that it cut down the list to 16 teams, Jerry did in the presser. That's fair. But I wonder, okay, what would have the other 14 or 15 teams possibly have offered you? Because the team that is Green Bay, where Jerry might not have an issue, he really only cares about the division trades, right? You're playing those guys twice a year. But there's no question the Packers have been a direct competitor and a direct reason you have gone home and ruined your season. So that's a team that to me needs to pay a tax, right? And Bryan, you've been in these negotiations, so maybe this is fan speak, and this is me as an emotional Cowboy fan. That's how I feel.
Sure.
But no, there's certain teams. It would be San Francisco. It would be Detroit right now. It would be Green Bay, where that I'll trade him to you, but you're going to have to pay a little bit more than say Baltimore would, or even Arizona for that matter in the conference would. Right. So I don't love the compensation. I would have liked to have tried to get more. But granted, you're a week until the season kicks off. They might have put themselves in a position where this was the best offer, and we can argue about how they went about it, and I think that's totally fair. But big picture, I don't think Micah Parsons is worth $47 million a year. I don't. I haven't seen a player that takes over postseason games. And a lot of the things that we want to talk about, where's Dak Prescott in a big game? I haven't seen Micah do that. In fairness, I haven't. And I do think there are ways where you can kind of take Micah out of games. He's outstanding as a pass rusher. 100% he is. But when we're talking already paying Dak Prescott $60 million a year as the highest paid player, you just paid CD. You did have to kind of say, we're not going to pay one guy. And I don't have an issue with it being Micah Parsons personally. I just wonder could you have gotten more from him? I expected them, if they traded him, which I'm totally for, I thought they would get more for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, same here. 100%. I'm with you on the tax factor. If you're going to deal him to Green Bay, I'm pretty against the idea of trading him to a team like Green Bay. But as you mentioned, Jerry said at the podium, he doesn't really give it a second thought. It's only the teams in the division that he really cares about that he would maybe just say, no, we're not doing that. But yeah, the compensation here, I mean, I guess I feel a little bit differently about Micah. I think at 26 years old and the type of pass rusher he is, that doesn't grow on trees. No. That is a very, very unique player. And he was playing on a defense where offenses really only had to account for him. He's the most double teamed and triple teamed player in the league. So you're not going to be able to get sacks. First of all, we're talking about 2 playoff games. So we're talking about a pretty small sample size. Off his ankle injury last year, he has 11 sacks in 9 games. The dude is an absolute difference maker. And for Jerry to justify trading maybe the best pass rusher in the league, I'll grant you Myles Garrett. After that, I think we'd all pretty much say it's Micah. And you're going to trade that away to try and stop the run. That's not how you team build. You don't trade away a premier in his prime pass rusher to try and stop the run. And you had all off season to try and build a defense to stop the run. You've neglected all off season to get even Kenny Clark level player on the interior of your defensive line. So, and now it's okay, you can stop the run. Are you going to be able to stop the pass? I struggle to imagine that you're going to be able to do that. So it feels like it was very reactionary and an emotional decision out of Jerry, and them kicking the can and waiting and not being proactive. Ultimately, if you want to trade Micah Parsons, I can understand that to some small degree. But man, you got to make sure that you are ahead of the game on this, and you are dictating the terms of engagement, and you are getting everything possible. And you've seen Khalil Mack get a little bit more when he got traded. Laramie Tunsil, when he got traded from Miami to Houston, they got a little bit more. I mean, they're kind of overvaluing Kenny Clark in my mind. If you told me this was if this was 2 1s and a 2, 2 1s and a 3 instead of Kenny Clark, I'd prefer that. Would you not?
Well, Kenny Clark.
Yeah, the thing
sure.
that yeah, to me, just watching Kenny Clark play, I would have traded just for Kenny Clark if you were really trying to help your run. I mean, sign Micah, and then if you want to help your run defense, just separately trade for Kenny Clark. If Green Bay is willing to move on from him, I mean that's kind of where I'm like, okay, you're worried about the run defense. Let's go get a veteran guy. Well, Kenny Clark could probably help you, but it's not. He's now part of this deal. So, to me, is Kenny Clark going to help the run defense? He absolutely will. He absolutely will. But the thing about it is, and I keep saying this, if they feel that their offense can really get things going and put pressure on defenses with Pickens and Lamb and Ferguson, and they kind of figure out how to run the football a little bit, and Dak kind of gets back to that 2 years ago type of rhythm that he was playing with, then maybe this offense will be really, really hard to stop. But then all of a sudden, like I said, it turns into now, okay, it turns into a throwing game. And you guys have mentioned this. How are they going to rush the passer? How are they going to finish games? How are they going to, and I'm sure people out there are like, well, Dan Broadus, he hasn't made any sacks. He doesn't make those sacks like DeMarcus Ware does to finish a game. He doesn't make those game-changing sacks. So to me, I just, the thing that just keeps bothering me is they're really, really, really putting a lot on Kenny Clark. It's really about the run defense, and it shouldn't be about the run defense. It should be about build a lead, get after the passer. That's how they won Super Bowls. Like 30 years ago, that's how they won Super Bowls. Trust me, I've been at Green Bay and watched them like score and score and score, and then now you're chasing a game and they're just choking you off because they're rushing the passer. That would be my goal if I was here. But and Steven's like, well, Flus can scheme pressure. Flus doesn't really want to blitz. He really doesn't. I mean, that's not his. That's maybe he's going to have to change some things, but to make up for Micah Parsons, I think is going to be very, very difficult. I do, and I like Kenny Clark, but and in draft the spring, I'm going to like the extra first round pick. I will. I'll just. I'll get excited about, okay, what are we going to do here? How are we going to move it up? How are we going to we're going to move down? Yeah. I'll get excited then, but right now I'm having a little trouble because I was positive about the news with Diggs, and I think the secondary was going to be better, and now the pass rush will have to really see it. It's become a question.
Yeah, I'm pumped for the draft picks. I mean, I wish maybe it's greedy, but I wanted 3. But I'm excited about 4 first rounders in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
And specifically, and this is the big question, I don't know that I really trust them to even do the quarterback thing unless the Dak Prescott season goes totally awry. But that's what they need to be doing. You have a really good potential quarterback draft class this coming season. And then I still am going to say 2 years from now will be the Arch Manning draft. So one of these next 2, I think you need a strike on your next franchise quarterback personally.
I agree. And you might be in a situation too, where if you're not good enough this year, you might have a top 10 pick to begin with. And like, okay, is this draft strong enough to like go and get your guy right now? But I think the next 2 years, they have to use one of these extra ones and they have to think about maybe drafting the quarterback of the future here.
Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see how they approach it. There's obviously a bunch of different ways you could go about it, having this extra capital. Do you want to go get aggressive for a quarterback right now? Do you want to slow play it a little more? We'll see kind of how Dak plays and things like that. But go ahead,
well, look at what the Giants have done with Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart is going to be their quarterback eventually. I mean, it's going to start off as Russell Wilson, but they need to get Jackson Dart playing as quickly as possible. 25th pick in the draft, I believe. They go out and they get a defensive player in Carter, the edge. They're getting, and now they could have got the quarterback, in this upcoming draft. Having the Giants pick would have been great. They could have grabbed a quarterback. They waited and they got Jackson Dart. I think Dallas is kind of in that same mode right now. If the right quarterback is there, you have to absolutely think about it. And this is all really predicated on if they have a poor season and, Dak is one of the reasons why, or it looks like the play has really kind of slipped.
Yeah.
Hey, let me can I go full it is love of the star, full Cowboys Hopium homer for you guys?
Oh,
Please,
sure.
I need some right now. Wolchuk, feed me, baby.
You're really overrating this pass rush stuff here, boys. You're really overrating this pass rush stuff. How about those 2014, 2016 Dallas Cowboys? You like those offenses? Were those offenses pretty good, fellas?
There you go.
You know who's getting after the passer in 14 and 16? My man Jeremy Mincey, star. How about my guy Jack Crawford getting after it, huh?
Jack
like
Crawford's
Ryan
a nice
Russell, Brian. You like Ryan Russell at defensive end? You know, I mean, look, you got a Tyrone Crawford. I'll give you Tyrone Crawford. I'll give you David Irving. But we're not talking about stars along that defensive line that got you 12-4 and 13-3.
It's because your offense was so damn good.
Well, what do we think this team's going to have to be to compete?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Well, Chuck, that's what I'm saying. If all of a sudden, if Jerry and Steven, if this offense is like that, and now you don't have Micah Parsons in there to potentially finish games, who else? Jack Russell. Who did you name there?
Hey, you know what? We're going to get Marshawn Nealon to get one. We're going to get let's go. Sam Williams, you're going to go get one. Osa's going to play better because he didn't like Micah. He's going to go get one. We're going to be addition by subtraction and play together, boys. Team defense. Rally to the football. Let's go. Come on. No, everyone's counting us out, boys. This is our time now. Micah who? Week 4 against the Packers. We're going to show you. We ain't missing you, Micah Parsons. That's what this defense needs to do right now.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Sick man, Wolchuk.
I know. It's bad.
Yeah, it is. It is bad. It is bad, and it does take a little bit of shine off. I know none of us were overly high on this season and this team and how many games they could actually
9 wins. Yeah, I kind of felt like 9 wins, maybe.
But there's no question for this season they are worse, and that's part of the annoying factor of this. Is if you could have been a little bit more proactive and maybe tried to do it earlier in the off season, then you could have some assets to go into the season with. You're paying Dak all that money. You're paying Lamb all that money. You trade a 3rd-round pick for George Pickens. So it's like you're trying to do some win-now things, but you're
not a win-now team. Yeah.
But you're not a win-now team, and now you're even less of a win-now team with the loss of Micah here. So, I mean, that Sunday night game when he's in a Packers uniform, man, I mean, that is
weird.
It is going to be very weird. Probably not Luka level weird, but I'll tell you what, Tyler Guyton and Terrence Steele are freaking pissed off about this.
So is Dak. I'm sure Dak's not happy about it.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Micah's not going to be treating Dak like a red jersey quarterback in training camp on Sunday night at AT&T. I mean, he's going to be balls to the freaking wall. Even Jerry was like, yeah, I mean, week 4, Micah's going to be a problem. Like, we're going to have to account for him. We're going to have to do the thing that all teams do, which is double team and triple team him, because he's an absolute menace at a very important position. Ultimately, the story will be told with what the Cowboys do with the assets that they got, specifically those 2 first-round picks. How much do we trust them to actually do right by those picks? In whatever way they want to do it, go be aggressive for a quarterback or maneuver things to get more and more assets and just stock the roster with as much talent as possible over the next few years. It's hard to have a ton of trust in them. And that's the unfortunate thing. Not only is it Green Bay, just the fact that it's Green Bay, but we know the level of team that they are. And unless Jordan Love gets super injured or something, this is going to be a bottom end of the first round selection, which brought us, you know better than anyone, you're picking a 2nd round graded player.
Yeah, probably so.
At 26, at 27, whatever it is. So I mean, the whole thing is just it's frustrating. It is, it's hard to get fired up. I wonder how the players in the locker room feel. Jerry was really dismissing that at the microphone, saying like, just doing the sales.
There might be some guys. There might be some guys that are happy that Micah's gone. Believe it or not. I mean, that's reckless speculation on my part, but
I think you're right.
If you listen to, there's probably going to be some stuff leaking out about that. We'll get some of these national reporters, Jane Slater, people like that will probably say, oh, well, everybody's cool. We're all good, bouncing their step. Here we go, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think there were people that loved Micah, and I think there were other people that agreed with Tank and thought his shtick was annoying.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean, every other player on that defense really should be bummed about this because their jobs all just got quite a bit harder.
A lot harder. Yep.
In the secondary, your job just got harder.
It sure
all
did.
the other pass rushers, guess what? You're not just going to get one-on-one opportunities to get to take advantage of. So all of that. Broadus, we can close it with this, though. You said, like, hey, I would have just gone and maybe tried to trade for Kenny Clark, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What do you think would have been the value? If I said, Broadus, go try and put a trade together for Kenny Clark, what would you been willing to get?
Like a 6th-round pick.
Sixth-round pick.
That. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, sure. I mean, Kenny Clark is a good player, but, Kenny Clark, like I said, early in the season, very good. And as the season wore on, if you watch the playoff game, the wild card game against Philadelphia, he was a little bit of a slower player. He's an older guy, been through a lot. Effort is good. Arm over moves. He's not a great passer, but you watch Rams in week 5. Yeah, all right. That's number 97 getting around there. But then as you went through the season, week 11 and against Detroit, kind of a little bit slowed down. But by the time you got to that wild card game, he'd been through the wars pretty good. And like I said, he will absolutely help. But like I said, if people say 5th, 6th-round guy, I would probably have leaned. I would have probably said, hey, you guys want to do something with Kenny Clark? They'd have probably tried to hold you up with it and think, oh no, he's worth this, But I'm not talking about a 3rd or 4th-round pick here. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Walchuk, does any Cowboy player get double-digit sacks this season?
Yeah, I think one will. It could be Fowler. I mean, he did have 10 sacks last year. One of them I think will hit double digits, and maybe it ends up being Sam Williams in a contract year. He ends up getting faith in that knee again, and he's able to do it. I think we'll get one. I mean, the other element of this, and it is SPO track, so I prefer over the cap, but the Cowboys now have an estimated $42 million in cap space going into next year, which is second most in the league behind the Patriots. So they should be able to get on, and we'll see what they do, but they should be able to go get Tyler Smith done. We worried about Blandon Pickens. Do you got to pick? Maybe you can get both done.
I would try and get Aubrey done. Aubrey too.
Yeah.
While you're at it,
can be a little more aggressive in free agency. But I mean,
he muted himself again.
He sure did.
You can see it there now.
With this money, can you go out there and actually do something with it instead of just, okay, now we've got cap space and we're just going to keep going bargain barrel free agent shopping and trading 6th-round picks for old veterans?
Yeah. I mean, nobody's going to have confidence that the Cowboys are going to do a ton with the available cap space, but again, therein lies a little bit of the hope. So that's where things stand right now. Just an emergency podcast. Micah traded to the Green Bay Packers. Love of the Star. We had to jump on it and give you the 411 here, but we'll be back very, very soon. Thank you, Bryan Broadus. Thank you, Zach.
Thank you.
I'm Eric Chiafalo. We'll be back with more Cowboys content very soon as we prep our bodies for week 1, Thursday night in Filthy. We'll be back very soon. Thank you.